Man, I was having such a great time fasting. I was in the groove. I was doing it. I was, so exciting, right? Because that's what we do. And then something happened and I slipped and I ate something. I wasn't even thinking. It didn't even, I didn't even remember that I was fasting when I went to the garden and I grabbed that tomato and I popped it in my mouth. And as soon as I swallowed, I was like, I was fasting. I'm supposed to be fasting. What happens when you have a slip up? How do we bounce back? How do we make it through? How do we recommit? How do we come back stronger? That's what we're talking about tonight on this show, this episode. Hey, if you're new to me, I'm Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here on the channel, I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, and go to the next level. And in this year, new year, new you, I'm talking to adults with type 2 diabetes who want to put their diabetes in remission, get off of medications, and reverse their diabetes. That's right, that's right. That's what we're doing. If you're new to me, go ahead and put new in the comments because we'd love to welcome you with a hand clap and some music. And let you know that I'm happy that you are here. If you're new as well, go ahead and put in the comments and in the chat. If you have questions, put those comments and chat and questions in there, and make sure you put a Q in front of that so that we'll know that those are questions we need to get to. I welcome you wherever you are seeing us from, whether it's LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, all of those. Thank you for joining us tonight and being here with us. I am in another 72-hour fast, and I'm a little bit over, let's see, how many hours now? 24, 25 hours of fasting. That's right, 25, actually more than 25. Well, hold on a second. So 20, yes, 20, 24, 25, 26, 27 hours. Okay, 27 hours of fasting is what we're in. We're going to be doing a check-in. And you know how we do it here. I've got off to the side. I've got my monitors that we're going to take a look at to see what my blood sugars are. Right down below, I've got my Dexcom Clarity report that we're going to take a look at here in just a little while and make sure that we can see what's been going on, what's been happening. If you have not already done so, make sure you get back and you're watching our series on Dwain Woode MD Live. We've introduced the COPE model, the COPE method of handling those triggers that we may see, right? So as we're moving through the fasting space, as we're moving into the reversing diabetes space, there are things that are going to come up, and those things, if we're not careful, can derail us, can take us off of our plan, take us off of our course. And so the COPE model helps us to deal with some of those, and you want to make sure you go ahead and watch that. We introduced it a couple of weeks ago, and we refined it over this past episode, and we're going to continue doing that over the next several episodes as we walk through that. So make sure you go back and you watch that so that you can catch up with us. And not just that, so that you can begin using it in your life, in your space. Just shout outs to all of our folks. I was excited that I had one of our community members today actually bring me something to the office. So thank you very much for bringing that to me. You know who you are. It's in the refrigerator. I did not break my fast to eat it, but I'm looking forward to it, yo. Yes. So thank you very much for dropping by and giving that to us. All right, so let's go ahead and let's take a look at blood sugar. So once again, I'm 27 plus hours now into this week's fast, and what we're talking about is slipping. So over 24 hours into this week's fast, we're talking about slipping and what do we do? How do we navigate that? Right? I'll tell you. We'll come back to that here in just a minute. But let's go ahead and take a look at blood sugars. Here is my Freestyle Libre. This is a Libre 3, I believe. Just the 3, not the 3 Plus. Yes, this is just Libre 3. And you'll see that my blood sugars over the course of the last at least 12 hours We were right above 100, so maybe I don't know, 125, and then right around 3 o'clock, and we're looking at that graph down at the bottom, the white graph. Right about 3 o'clock, we dropped below 100 and kind of straggled right above maybe 70, 78 to 100, and then of course now 76 is what that says that I am. Let's get rid of this and let's come over and let's take a look at this is my Dexcom, and my Dexcom, this is a Dexcom G7, and you'll see there right now my blood sugar is 111. If I go to 24 hours, I can actually let's do the same as we did with the Libre. So 12 hours, I can run my finger across that, and you'll see what the numbers have been: 100, 100, 100, 100. Okay, and then up into the 160s. And if I go to 24 hours, right, we'll go back, and you'll see yesterday we kind of popped up, and that was above 180, almost 200. Yeah, well, I said almost, but yeah, right there. Okay, and then dip down as we fasted, and then down to where we are right now. So what do you think my ketones are going to be? We're going to take a look at my meters. What do you think my ketones are going to be after now fasting for 27 hours? Okay, let's go ahead and take a look. So I've got a Keto Mojo. This is gives me both the glucose and ketones. And then I got a Contour. So let's go ahead and get a strip into the Contour. And let's take a look. And then, of course, the Keto Mojo will give me both blood sugar and ketones. And I'm going to go ahead and open both of these before I get my drop of blood. We'll get this in here. But remember, the last couple of times I was having some trouble getting a drop of blood. So we want to make sure that we don't have to stick me more than once. Let's go ahead and open this one just so we'll have it ready right there. And let's see, I'm going to actually defer or not use one of these single stick lancets and go ahead and use one of the old school ones, which is one you just basically take the top off, and then I don't use a lancing device. Let's get this off of here and let's go to this view. So these are supposed to go into a lancing device, which I don't use. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this part off, basically screw it off. All right, and then I'm going to grab a finger and let's do this one and make sure I get a good, I think I feel that one, so I'm sure that one, there we go. Okay, so now that's a good drop of blood. Let's get that one started, get the Contour started. Okay, and you'll see, so the Keto Mojo says that I'm 90. The Contour says I am 92, and then on the screen you'll see that my Libre, right here. Oh, wait, where is it? Oops, it's supposed to be over here somewhere. My Libre says that I'm 77. Let's go ahead and get this out, and let's get the ketone stick in there, or ketone strip, and then let's get that drop going. And of course, as I always do, I'm going to tease you guys. I'm going to let that run for a little while, and then I'm going to change so that you don't see what it is. I know. All right, and so I'm going to get this off the screen because sometimes I'll switch to that scene and you guys will get to see it. And I'm not ready for you to see it quite yet. All right. So there we are. So that's going. So let's go and let's have our conversation. But before that, let's do a little backdrop. So in this space, our goal is to reverse diabetes. Remember, we're talking new year, new you. We have unlimited ability to craft, create, and to chart the destiny of our health and our wellness, right? Specifically, we are reversing diabetes. When you hear me talk, I'm talking to adults with type 2 diabetes who want to reverse their diabetes. That's the main premise of what I'm talking about. But there are a lot of tools that we've learned, and the tools that we're learning don't just apply to diabetes. In fact, the tools that we're learning can apply to any metabolic disease. And so things like high blood pressure, high cholesterol, coronary artery disease, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, polycystic ovarian syndrome, all of those can improve with the tools that we're learning. Remember, diabetes is the prototypic metabolic disease, but things that we do to treat diabetes can also work for metabolic disease. So if you're sitting out there and you say, well, I'm not diabetic, so I don't have to listen to that. No. That's what I'm saying. So you can use the tools that we're learning. And one of the major tools that we're learning is, of course, the tool of fasting. We've learned about the 5 whys, figuring out what is the why. What's the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing? Why do I want to be healthy? Why do I want to reverse my diabetes? Why do I want to correct? Why do I want to eat better? Why do I want to exercise? All those things. What is your why? And then, of course, fasting, which we'll talk about here, the heat model. Those tools, or so those triggers, if you will, that push us in the direction of eating when we've decided that we're not going to eat, or we're not going to eat a certain thing, we're not going to eat in a certain way. Those triggers that are there, habits, emotions, access, and taste. And so in our quest to reverse diabetes, three of the 3 pillars that we've talked about: decrease insulin, suppress the appetite, and reduce sugar. Decrease insulin, suppress appetite, reduce sugar. And fasting hits all 3 of those. And so the reason that we're using fasting is that it's an amazing tool that hits all the pillars that we've talked about, that we've said, okay, this is how we reverse diabetes. So that's why we're using fasting. And as we move through the week, the days of the week, we do a 72-hour fast once a week. That's what I've been doing. And so we come on at each phase and we're sharing with you what's going on, some other tools and ideas that you can use to be successful. In fact, on our channel, there is a playlist that we've created called How to Fast Successfully. There's one called How to Reverse Diabetes. And in the How to Reverse Diabetes, we're walking through the New Year, New You process. And then the How to Fast Successfully is one of the tools that we've learned that we're continually doing that will set us up for success as we move through that space. Okay? So if you're just joining us, if you're new to us, the reason we're talking about fasting is that it is one of the most powerful tools that we have in our toolbox to help us reverse our diabetes. Okay? And so why does this topic come up, this idea of slipping? Well, I was today talking to one of the community members, and she reached out to me and said, hey, I was going well. I was in my fast, and I went out to my garden, and I was doing some work there and just grabbing things and picking up. And I walked out, and the tomatoes looked so nice. And I went and I grabbed some. I was picking them, and I didn't even think. And I grabbed one, and I popped it into my mouth. And as soon as I swallowed, I was like, oh my God, I messed up because I broke my fast. And so I want to talk today, during this episode, about slip-ups. Slip-ups. You know, when we are in offices or even in other public places, one of the things that they do is if there is an area that's slippery, they'll put a sign that says slippery when wet or caution, slippery. Sometimes we don't have those in regular life, right? So yeah, okay, there's a puddle right there in the grocery store. Something fell and they put it down. They've mopped it up, but they put a sign. Or they've got a bucket, or they got one of those cones. And there are all these signs around us that alert us to something that's going on. And so we want to now talk about, okay, what about slip ups in this space? Okay. So fasting, remember, fasting is a journey and it is not a race to perfection. Let me say that again. Let me pause and say that. So fasting is a journey. It is not a race to perfection. So the process of using fasting in the space of reversing diabetes, it is a journey. It is an ongoing day by day thing that we do as we move in the direction of being successful. But there are always going to be things that come up. So slip ups are common. And it's essential that you handle them with compassion and with wisdom. Handle yourself with compassion and wisdom. Otherwise, it derails you and it hinders you from future fasts, hinders you from using other tools, hinders you from getting success in reversing diabetes and addressing other metabolic diseases. So today we're going to discuss how to recover from a slip up and how do we stay on track. Okay, that's what we're going to be talking about as we move into this space. Before we continue there, I do want to go ahead and do our check-in as we normally do. And when I do a check-in, I talk about how I'm feeling physically, mentally, and emotionally. Physically, mentally, and emotionally. These are the areas where people will have their biggest challenge, or biggest challenges, right? So physically, how am I feeling physically? So physically, when we talk about physically, people often will say, how are you feeling in terms of your energy? Are you feeling lightheaded, dizzy, sweaty? Are you having palpitations, headaches, blurry vision, all of those things? And I'm not feeling palpitations. I'm not feeling lightheaded, dizzy, or sweaty. I am feeling more fatigued than actually it's probably about the same amount of fatigue as I did last week during the fast. I've been staying up late, getting up early. There's a project I'm working on, and that, of course, makes me already tired. And then as I get into the fast, sometimes that will show up, be more pronounced, because in the fast I may have some dips in my energy as I'm transitioning from burning sugar, burning carbs, to burning ketones. Okay, so that will, and I'm feeling that now. In fact, I'm as soon as this is over, I'm going to bed. Okay, so I'm feeling a little bit more, not a lot more, but I'm feeling more fatigued than I normally do. The other thing is that, and you guys see me pausing sometimes, I don't know that I'm doing as good a job of hydrating as I need to. So that's why you see me pausing and drinking. So that's something I need to work on for this fast. Number two, mentally. How am I feeling mentally? I'm not feeling sluggish. I'm not feeling dull. I'm not feeling as though I'm in a tunnel, or I'm not feeling foggy. I think the fatigue that I am feeling is having some impact on my thoughts, right? So I'm probably a little slower in my thought process. So that's why I said as soon as this is over, we're gonna go get some rest, because I'm getting up in the morning early and I want to make sure I get enough rest to kind of make it through this fast. One of the things that happens, if you're tired, if you're not doing a good job, if you did not do a good job of dealing with fatigue, then that can throw the fast off. And if you're not rested, then you break the fast, and the fast doesn't go well because you feel fatigued and down, and so I want to make sure that I'm not falling into that space. But mentally, I'm feeling pretty clear, right? Like I said, I'm not feeling like I'm tunnel. I'm not feeling like I'm foggy or sluggish. I can tell a little bit that the hydration, the fatigue, may be having a little play on me, and we'll kind of see how this show goes, right? And then emotionally, this is actually a pretty good week. I had a pretty good weekend. There was no stress, no big issues that happened. Hung out with the family. Went to basketball game over at one of the other churches here in the area, and this week has actually been doing pretty good. So I'm not feeling down, not feeling depressed, not feeling anxious. I did a talk last week, as I mentioned in one of our check-ins. I've got another one coming up this week. We've got a program they're going to be working on. So just a lot of exciting things that are going on. So right now, emotionally, actually feeling pretty good. Okay, so these are the things when you're doing your check-in, when you're doing your fasting, when even if you're not doing a fast, if you're doing other health or setting yourself up for other health benefits, you want to make sure that you're checking in with yourself. And these are the three main areas that people will have trouble with. So make sure you're checking with yourself. How am I feeling physically? How am I feeling mentally? How am I feeling emotionally? Okay. So let's talk about, so why do slip ups happen? Slip ups happen because of mindless eating, environmental triggers, and emotional triggers. Remember we talked about the heat model, and the heat model will continue to come back in, right? Because it plays a big part in the things that we do. So when we talk about why slip ups happen, one is mindless eating. And mindless eating goes back to this idea that we often are in rote behavior. We've got that muscle memory, right? Like our community member who contacted me and said, "Hey, I went out to the garden and without even thinking, I just grabbed a tomato and I popped it in my mouth." Right? So not deliberately, not I'm going to break my fast, but it's just mindless. And sometimes we're in our spaces. Here, I've got to be careful. I can't have anything in the study because when I'm working, right, if I get tired, sometimes I'll get up and I'll walk out, I'll get something to drink. But if there's something in here, when I get up, because I'm tired, I'm fatigued, I want to clear my mind for a minute, if it's in here, I'm going to walk by and sometimes without thinking, I'm going to grab something, pop it in my mouth. And then as soon as it gets in my mouth, I realize, hey, wait a minute, I'm fasting. Right, so we go through this mindless eating, and that goes back to the muscle memory, as I said, the routine that we go through, the habits that we've created. The other reason slip ups happen is because of environmental triggers. Right, we see the family going to eat, we see team members at work going to eat, we smell, in the morning when I go to work, right? So sometimes I'm walking around the office. Or I get out of my car and I'm going into the building and the cafeteria is right on the first floor, so I smell it. Or if I park my car right across from where my office is a shopping center, and in that shopping center are all the restaurants. And so in the morning, as they're getting ready, they're preparing, I can smell it, right? There's a popular coffee shop that's right there that makes bread, and I can smell that. So all these environmental triggers, right, are there, and that can push me or cause me to have a slip up. I should say push me, cause me to have a slip up because they they stimulate the appetite, they stimulate my thought, they are creating in my mind a story, and my body is responding to that story. Okay, so environmental triggers. And then emotional triggers. Now, we've talked about emotions forever because emotions are a big part of the heat model: habits, emotions, access, and taste. So when we are fasting, the emotions that we go through, the fatigue that we go through, the boredom, the frustration, the anxiety, the depression, all of those emotions can trigger us and can cause us to have a slip. So nobody gets up in the morning and say, today I'm just gonna stop fasting. I'm just gonna break the fast, or I'm just gonna eat whatever I want. But we get up every day, and because there are these things in our environments, those things will push us in a direction that takes us off of the path, off of our plan. And so slip-ups happen because of mindless eating, emotional triggers, and environmental triggers. Okay, so lots of things we can unpack there, and lots of that goes back to the heat model. So, what are steps to recovery? What are some steps to recovery? Because ultimately, that's what we want, right? So, what do we do if we slip up? We'll talk about that first. So, number one, a 3-step process. 1, hydrate. Hydrate with water or herbal tea. Pause. Get something to drink. Hydrate. It distracts you from the slip. It helps to now refresh you. It's something that you're doing. It's physical, right? So it takes our mind off of it. It refreshes us because we have something that we're drinking. We are doing something physical. Several years ago, one of the things I learned was this idea of move a muscle, change a thought. Sometimes we're in our heads, we're in a thought, we're in an emotion, and simply getting up and moving from that space, getting up, going for a walk, getting up, grabbing something, getting up, doing something physical with our hands, move a muscle, change a thought. Right? So the act of hydrating, and that seems like a very simple one, right? Hydrating, grab a cup, get some water, get some herbal tea, put it in the cup, drink it. Number 1. Number 2 is recommit. Number 2 is recommit. So we're talking one again. We're talking here about steps to recovery. So we're recommitting, and we're remembering why we started fasting in the first place. That's why it's so important to discover your why, to evaluate your why, to say, hey, why am I doing this, right? We've talked about coming up with your why in the past. That's why it's important, because there are going to be times when you're going to need to solidify, to support, to give a punch of energy to something you're doing, and the why is a big part of that. What is the goal? Why was I doing this? Why did I start this? And then reflect. So hydrate, recommit, there's a why, and then reflect. Ask yourself why the slip up happened. Was it hunger? Was it stress? Was it habit? Right? Remember the heat model? What is it that caused this to happen? Right? This goes back to our COPE model, right? So COPE model, right? It says clarify. What exactly am I feeling? What was going on? What prompted this? Observe where it is in my body. Where am I feeling it? Pause. Process. Okay, evaluate. Pick some other behavior as opposed to the one you were going to do, and execute. So here we're talking about asking ourselves, we're talking about processing, right? COPE model. We're talking about processing. So why did it happen? Was it habit? Was it hunger? Was it emotion? Was it stress? Remember, depression comes from the past, anxiety comes from the future, and stress, worry comes from right now. So what is the power of self-compassion, right? So we want to have self-compassion. So be kind to yourself. Often we talk to ourselves in ways we would never talk to other people. We're harder on ourselves. Understand that mistakes are going to happen. Mistakes are a part of the process. There's nothing special about you because you made a mistake. Right? Everybody makes mistakes, and it's going to happen. So we're going to be kind to ourselves. We want to avoid guilt and negative self-talk. The stories that we tell ourselves, the words that we use, set us up for success or they set us up for failure. When we use positive words, positive talk, positive affirmations, then we're creating within our space, within our mind, a place where we can be successful. When we have negative self-talk, when we talk about ourselves negatively, when we say how bad we are, oh, how not good we are because we had a slip, or oh, this is always like it's going to be, oh, we can never do anything right, oh, this always is, oh, this is just like the last time. All of those negative talks or negative self-talk, that creates an environment where the brain now believes that, and it sets us up for negativity and it sets us up for failure. Okay? So be kind to yourself, avoid negative self-talk, and focus on the progress you've made. Like this community member who contacted me was at, I think, 24 or 36 hours. So yes, we had a slip, but we got to 24 to 36 hours. Yes, we ate something, but we got to 24 to 36 hours. Yes, we didn't make it to 48, but we got to 24 to 36 hours. Right? Focus on the progress that you've made, not on the minor setback. We can perseverate on that thing that we did wrong. That inner critic is always there, ready to pounce and to remind us of the thing that we did wrong. But we want to celebrate where we are. Because just 6 months ago, 4 months ago, 2 weeks ago, yesterday, you couldn't fast for 24 hours. But now you're able to fast for 24 hours. You've made it to 24. You've made it to 36. Celebrate that. Focus on the progress that we've made and not on the setbacks, not on the minor setbacks. Okay? So how do we stay on track after a slip? How do we stay on track after a slip? Number one, we want to plan ahead. Prepare mentally for potential triggers. They're coming, they're coming, they're coming. I would love to tell you that it's not there, that it won't happen, but guess what? It is coming. And so how do we prepare mentally for it? We want to say, hey, we accept it. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's going to come. Something's going to happen. Something is going to trigger us. And so what do we want to do? We want to know that, hey, it's going to happen. But it doesn't mean that it's the end of the world. It doesn't mean I'm a bad person. It doesn't mean that I can never fast again. Because sometimes that's what we think. Because we messed up this time, we can't ever fast again. Or it's never going to work for us. But understand that it's going to happen. The triggers are going to happen. And you have a way, you have a process of dealing with it. Yes? Okay. And then create some visual cues. Just like when you see the wet floor sign or slippery when wet sign or the caution sign. Create for yourself some visual cues, some visual places where you have notations, where you can see. Like put a sign on your wall, put a sign on your mirror, put a sign in your wallet, put a sign in your car that says, I'm fasting. So it reminds you. Because sometimes out of sight, out of mind. I bet you if there were a sign in the garden, then we wouldn't have eaten the tomato. Right? Slip-ups will happen. Create an environment where you are alerted, where you're reminded, hey, you're fasting. Right? Because sometimes it's so mindless. We need something to break that cue, break that process. And then change your environment. Move away from food triggers and things that are distracting you. Now, I'll tell you, one of the things I've got to stop doing is I've got to stop going down to the cafeteria on my fasting days. But I go down to the cafeteria because I get, you guys know I use unsweetened tea or artificially sweetened tea. I may go down for water, or I may go on the last day when I'm fasting, I'll go down and get a salad that I'm going to save for tomorrow. Right? I'm going to break the fast with that. But when I go down to the cafeteria, there are all those environmental cues. And so technically I'm setting myself up for a slip. So create an environment that is conducive for success. Don't put yourself in an environment that will cause you to have a slip. That's why we tell the alcoholic, don't go to the bar. Don't go around if you're a recovering addict. Don't go around people who are using paraphernalia that you used to use. Don't have the same behaviors. Create a different environment. Okay? And so how do we avoid future slip-ups? How do we avoid future slip-ups? Well, we want to be mindful. So we want to stay present and conscious of your fasting state. So emotional intelligence is the ability to know where you are in your emotions, to understand where other people are with theirs, and to use that to your benefit. One of the most important things is knowing where you are. What am I feeling? What is going on in me that a trigger can exploit? What is going on in me that if I'm not careful, if I'm just mindless, that I can get off of my fasting plan? What is going on in me? What emotion is being built up? What am I fatigued? Am I depressed? Am I whatever it is? Being able to understand that helps me now prepare and circumvent or prevent something from happening. I was talking to someone just today, and I was telling them that it's kind of like being on a roller coaster, right? You've heard that my story before about a roller coaster. When you get to the top of that roller coaster, when that car is at the top, guess what? You can jump up and scream and you can hold on all you want, but the car is coming down the other side. And so our goal is either in the roller coaster is don't get in the car, or accept that this is the process that's going on and deal with it on this side. But up there is already done. It's a done deal. That's why the COPE model is so important, because it helps us on this side of the pinnacle. Okay? All right. So be mindful. Be mindful. Understand where you are. Stay present. Manage stress. Look at that. Incorporate stress relief techniques like deep breathing and meditation, mindfulness. All right, looking at the COPE model, and we'll be doing COPE model for the next several shows on Dwain Woode MD Live. So make sure you get back over there. Right. So we're going to clarify. We're going to observe. We're going to pause, process, pick something else, another way of dealing, of coping. We're going to execute, and we're going to evaluate. So manage, so that's the stress, right? And we got another acronym that we're going to introduce here soon that will help with the stress. And then develop some small rituals. Create rituals that remind you that you're fasting, right? Sipping water, sipping on tea. Get into the habit. Have a water, have a bottle there. You see, every time I'm here, I've got this in my hand. Right? It reminds me that I am fasting. It's something to do. It takes my mind off it. It's move a muscle, change a thought. Got it here. So when I get up to go that way, because that's where the door is, when I get up to move out of this space, I've got a trigger. I've got something that says that, hey, you're fasting. I do probably need to get some signs to put it as I head out the door. That says, okay, you're fasting, right? Okay. So mindfulness, manage stress, and then develop some small rituals that kind of remind you that you are fasting. Sipping on water, sipping on tea, all those are good ways to do that. Okay. And then, just to wrap up, just to tie it all up, slip-ups will happen. It's gonna happen. but they don't define you. They don't define your success. They don't say anything about you personally as a person. We got to put things in place to help us not have that happen. Okay? Slip-ups are going to happen. Focus on progress. Focus on progress, not perfection. We're moving in a direction, right? Observe, celebrate the progress that you've made. Have self-compassion. Be kind, be nice, be gentle with yourself. Stay committed, looking back at the why. Why am I doing what I'm doing? What's the reason for wanting to be there? And then use setbacks as opportunities to learn. Use setbacks as opportunities to learn and to strengthen your fasting journey. Each time you fast, each time you successfully fast, you're getting benefit. Each time you are able to recover from a slip, you're getting benefit. Each time you're able to say, okay, now I understand what caused this slip. Now you're able to change that and to set yourself up for a better success. So use the setbacks, reframe as an opportunity for you to learn, as a stepping stone to move in a positive direction. Okay? All right. All right, everybody. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at my report. So this is my Dexcom Clarity right down below. And let's see, let's do this view. I like this one. And let me grab a mouse so you could see. And so you'll see right there that my average blood sugar is 127. That's over the last 2 weeks. I am in target 91% of the time, and that target is anywhere from 70 to 180. My glucose management indicator, which is a surrogate for my A1C, is 6.4. So if I were to get an A1C based on the last 2 weeks, then it would be 6.4. That's an estimate. Let's go ahead and change to 90-day average, because that's what my A1C is going to be based on. And you see there my average blood sugar is 135. I'm in target 85% of the time, which is range of 70 to 180. And my glucose management indicator is a 6.5. Okay, 6.5. Now notice that average of 125 to average of 135 gives us about the same glucose management indicator. So this is a 90-day. If I go back to 2 weeks, right, 6.4, 6.5, right? So notice that. All right, and let's go back to 90 days. And let's go ahead and take a look at my actually daily graphs. And we'll see what's been going on. So we started fasting right in here yesterday. Blood sugar of 162. And so we had eaten, and then, so this is just a spike that's coming from the food right in this area. And then the blood sugar started going down, 140s, popped up a little bit right here, and once again, I bet you that is toothpaste. And then continues going down, and then right at about 24 hours, blood sugar was 127. And then as we move into the rest of the evening, now we're going further down. And so this is the Dexcom Clarity. Let's see, what is my Dexcom telling me that my blood sugar is right now? It's saying that my blood sugar is 117. Okay. And let's see, I thought I had another view that gave me both my Dexcom and the Clarity report, but I don't have that right now. But anyway, you see that there. So 117. Okay. Right. So what do you think my ketones are going to be? Let's get that Keto Mojo back up. And let's go ahead and pull up the Keto Mojo app. And so the last time we checked in was on the show back on Dwain Woode MD Live, my blood sugar at the time was 143. I was not fasting. I hadn't fasted since Friday. So that was what, one Friday. So that was 3 days prior. And so I had been eating. And when you look at the graph itself, as I ate, which is that tan line, you see that the blood sugars went up and the ketones went down. Ketones are the turquoise line. Blood sugar is the tan line. So at 27 hours, what do you think my ketones are going to be? So let's hop over and let's go ahead and turn this on. And we're going to get this to sync. And it's coming up, coming up, coming up. If you think you know, go ahead and pop that in the chat. Pop your guess for my A1C. I'm not A1C, but my ketones in the chat. So let's go ahead and let's see what it got. So drum roll, please. Drum roll, drum roll, drum roll. And so my blood sugar is 90, was 90, and ketones are 0.4. Okay, blood sugar is 90, ketones are 0.4. If I look at the graph again, you'll see now that the ketones, which were down here when we looked at the graph before, have started coming up now that I'm fasting, blood sugars are coming down and ketones are rising. Remember, ketones and insulin can't be in the same space. So if my blood sugar is high, then ketones are going, if blood sugars are high, then insulin has to come out to treat the blood sugar. And when insulin comes out, ketones go down. When I start fasting, blood sugars go down, insulin goes down, and when insulin drops, ketones will come out. So that's what you're seeing there. The tan line is going down as I'm fasting, and then the turquoise line is rising because my blood sugar is going down, insulin is going down, and so ketones are there. Okay? So let's go back and let's talk a little bit about ketones. So ketones that are less than 0.5 are considered normal. Ketones that are 0.5 to 1.5 are considered nutritional ketosis, and then above 1.5 is considered therapeutic ketosis. So when we are talking about fat burning, when we're talking about ketogenic diet, when we're talking about extended fasting, or I shouldn't say extended, but fasting, then if we're talking about fat burning, reversing diabetes, improving insulin resistance, dealing with metabolic syndrome, all those things, then we want ketones that are 0.5 or higher. So during my fasting, I want my ketones to get up above 0.5. Right now they're 0.4, so we'll see what they are as we move further into the fast. We do have several people out there that are on ketogenic diets, and so they try to maintain persistent ketosis throughout their day, throughout their week, throughout their month. And they eat foods that kind of keep them in that space. We have one of our community members that does that, and you've probably seen him every time he comes on. It's like, hey, what's your ketones? And he'll say it's 1.2, 2.1, 1.4, 1.7, right? Because his diet, he's trying to keep himself in ketosis for that fat burning, for the insulin resistance improvement, for metabolic health. Okay. So that's ketogenic diet. For people who are fasting, then our goal in fasting has to do with the pillars, right? So decrease insulin, reduce appetite, and also reduce sugar. So in the fasting process, depending on where you are, depending on the type of fast you're doing, then you also want to be in ketosis, because ketosis is where we're getting the fat burning, and where we're getting the improved insulin resistance, and where we're getting all those benefits that come with transitioning from carbs to burning ketones. Okay, so less than 0.5 considered normal, 0.5 to 1.5 considered nutritional ketosis, and then above 1.5 considered therapeutic ketosis. All right, I love it, love it, love it. Let's see. So as we have been going through this year, we've been talking about New Year, New You. The New Year, New You process is what we're using to reverse our diabetes. And on our channel, on Dwain Woode MD, I've created several playlists that are out there that will help direct you direct you in um, going through the videos. So one of the playlists that I have that are out there that and several of them comprehensive, by the way, that go through a lot of the backdrop, a lot of the nitty gritty, if you will, about diabetes. And that is the playlist that's called Managing Diabetes. So if you're pointing someone to the channel, you want to have them begin by going through the Managing Diabetes playlist. And I'm trying to pull that up. I'm finding all the ones except that. Here it is. Mastering Diabetes, not Managing. I said Mastering Diabetes. So this is what that playlist looks like. And there are 32 videos in there. Talks anything about type 1 diabetes, type 2 diabetes, what are some of the complications, and of course now that I'm just moving things around. What are some of the complications? What are some of the things that we'll see? How do we treat diabetes? Medications for diabetes, how to adjust medication, and we'll go through insulin and all those other medications. A model for reversing diabetes, you see that down there at the bottom, okay? So Mastering Diabetes, one of the playlists that we have. And then, of course, our New Year, New You process that we've been going through, that one is in the playlist that's entitled How to Reverse Your Diabetes. How to Reverse Your Diabetes, and there it is. All right. And so this is the process that we've been walking through. So how to reverse your diabetes. That's what we're talking about. New year, new you. And in doing that, we're using fasting as one of the tools. And so that's the second playlist. And then let's go back and let's find the third playlist. And this is how to fast successfully. How to fast successfully. Okay. So Mastering Diabetes, how to reverse diabetes, and how to fast successfully. So as you're thinking about, okay, what do I do? How do I approach this? How do I begin? That's the order in which I want you to go through the material. Okay. Now, some of it, and people say, okay, do I have to go through Mastering Diabetes before I can do? Am I going to miss something? You're not going to miss anything, but I think it helps to set up the premise for all the things that come after. So Mastering Diabetes is a fundamental, what diabetes is, how it works, what our current thought about diabetes is, what the treatments that are out there. And then specifically, once we have that, now let's reverse diabetes. And then if we're reversing diabetes, what are the tools that we can use? And one of the tools we've been using is the tool of fasting. Okay, awesome. All right. So as you're pointing family, friends to that, that's where I want you to be. And then I've been sharing with a lot of people recently, I shouldn't say recently, but I've been sharing with a lot of people the idea that you have unlimited potential. Unlimited potential that's built in, that is a part of you, that's at your fingertips, that we've got to tap into. We've talked about the ability to chart your metabolic destiny, to reverse diabetes, to deal with other metabolic diseases. It's unlimited. You can begin doing that, and we do that with education, empowerment, and encouragement. Education, empowerment, and encouragement. And that is our triple E formula for success. We educate, we empower, and we encourage. We educate with the blogs, with the shows, with the podcasts. All of that is with the intention of being able to shift the mindset, to get a different perspective. We empower with tools, just like we've talked about the HEAT model, the COPE model, the emotional intelligence, mindfulness, how to create a meal, how to adjust medication. All of those are tools that we're using that sets us up for success. And then we encourage with the community as we build community together, as we are encouraging and we are supporting each other. Remember the things that are going to push us in a direction off of our eating plan, off of our fast. It's given by the HEAT model: habits, emotions, access, and taste. the habits that we form, just like we talked about a minute ago, those environmental cues, those patterns, those routines that we've developed over time, where we almost mindlessly go through them, not because we're hungry, but because it's just a pattern that we've developed. And then we eat because of emotions. We are depressed about the past, we're anxious about the future, and we stress and worry about the present. When those emotions get strong enough, they're going to push through your decision. So we want to make sure that you are setting yourself up for success by dealing with those emotions, dealing with them in a constructive way. We also want to know that one of the triggers is access. When things are here, when things are around, we're going to eat it because we have easy access to it. You walk by the coworker's desk, you go by the kitchen, you see the bowl of fruits. You're not hungry, you see the candy jar, you see the candy bowl. You're not hungry, but you grab one because it's there. And then we eat because of taste. The bliss point, the perfect combination of sugar, salt, and fat. When you eat it, you can't just have one. Oh, let me get some more of that. And the food brings back to our memory the things that we felt. That time we went to that place and we felt so good because we ate that thing, right? Or the space that it puts us in, the calm, the mindset, the relief that we think it brings. We eat because of habits, emotions, access, and taste. And remember our pillars, the 3 pillars for reversing diabetes: decrease our insulin, suppress our appetite, and reduce sugar. All of these are touched and hit, and they are all addressed by our fasting. That's why fasting is so powerful, because it hits every pillar in the pillars to reverse diabetes. And then our call to action. When you show up, join the challenges, join the challenges. Don't just let them be things that you hear that are on the shelf. Jump in. We have a challenge every month. Every month we have one. And you want to make sure that you are involved in those, right? So join the challenges. When you show up, tell your story. Let us know what's going on. Share with us. Let us know you're having successes. Let us know when you're having some challenges. Let us know all the things because when we see you, when we see your successes, when we know that we can also be successful. When we hear where you're having challenges, we get to rally around you. We get to say, hey, you are part of our community. And then invite someone to this space. Let them know that there's a place where we can go, where we can be successful. We can set ourselves up for metabolic success. So join the challenges, share your story, and invite a friend. Invite somebody. Let them know that they can come to this space and they can be successful. Hey. I'm always excited, always glad when I get a chance to spend some time in this space with my community. Glad that you are here. Glad that you had spent some time hanging out with us. Drop us a note. Drop us a note. Remember that this week is our community meetup. This is our community meetup. If you're out there, if you've not already done so, go ahead and sign up. We're using the same link that we've used in the past. Get in there. Come on in. We go around and it's a great time to meet everybody, to be able to spend some time. We even do some coaching. That's not even, but we do coaching within the space. You get some access to me, you get access to other community members, and we get to share where we are right now in our journey of reversing diabetes. Hey, as always, this is Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here on the channel, I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, and go to the next level. And in this year, new year, new you. We'll see you tomorrow at our check-in. We'll see you Friday on our check-in. And then we'll see you Saturday night for videos from the vault. And then on Sunday for This Week in Review. And of course, as always, we'll see you live on Monday at 7 p.m. Central right here on Dwain Woode MD Live. Good night, everybody.